Our thesis statement is the illustration of increasingly frequent transnational trade and cross-border cultural flows between mainland China and post-colonial Hong Kong through the employment of close-up shots. While the film is directed by Fred Chan, an iconic independent filmmaker, it is inevitable for us to associate the movie with the independent cinema of Hong Kong. Apart from lack of major studio financing, independency is marked by the film's content and style, which speaks for the margin and address hidden issues in the society.
Chan has incorporated various novel dilemmas into dumplings, including cannibalism, illegitimate pregnancy, extramarital affairs, and abortion, which induce a sense of horror towards the degradations of human consciousness and loss of moral. He has also incorporated critical interpretations of social issues, including political and cultural anxiety occasioned by the British transfer of Hong Kong's sovereignty to China in 1997 into the film.
Chan attempted to criticize Chinese social beliefs in trusting the supernatural healing power of unusual foods by going the extra mile to discuss the controversial act of cannibalism. In an interview with Boris Trivik, Chan suggested that dumplings' plot plays on the ironies of traditional Chinese medicine, especially believes that consuming certain animal organs would be particularly beneficial to the equivalent parts of human body. Dumplings includes historical references and associates the act of large-scale cannibalism, which occurred during the Cultural Revolution, especially in Guangxi. The close-up shot filming Aunt May chopping up the unborn fetus brings into mind the man-eating behavior. Such immoral culture of Mao's legacy started to influence Hong Kong after the handover, which gradually created a borderless world.
Close-up shot is employed when depicting the traditional Chinese ceramic dolls, including a doll from the working class, a peasant, and with Chairman Mao's doll at the back. This close-up shot subtly brings in the historical relevance of cannibalism during the Cultural Revolution by highlighting the brutal class struggle and inhumane revolution. Mao's legacy being portrayed in a Hong Kong public housing setting shows that Communist China started to exert more influence to Hong Kong after 1997.
Chan illustrates the northern origin of cannibalistic practice by using dumpling, a significant cuisine from the north. Close-up shot is applied when depicting the scene where Aunt May places her lunch pile on the conveyor belt for luggage screening. This highlights the historical significance and time reference of the 1990s by focusing on the red lunch pile, which was commonly used as a food carrier back then. The close-up portrayal of the lunch pile with dead fetuses, which symbolized the primitive cannibalistic culture of China, entering Hong Kong is an act of cultural invasion through immigration.
By depicting the scenes of preparing the fetus dumplings in details, a moral dilemma is normalized as a usual banal sin. Such normalization of horror illustrates the loss of human consciousness, focusing on Mr. Lee's act of swallowing. The ironic acceptance and embracing gestures of Hong Kong consumers towards such immoral culture is also highlighted.
Chan also illustrated the increasingly frequent transnational trade between Hong Kong and mainland China after the handover. After 1997, due to economic complementarities and comparative advantages, a spatial division of labor, namely the front shop, back market model, had been established across the borders and illustrated throughout dumplings.
After the establishment of CEPA in 2003, cross-border economic activities further increased. The function of depicting Aunt May visiting the mainland hospital to get the dead fetuses and transiting from Shenzhen to Hong Kong at a border immigration checkpoint is to emphasize the economic relations between mainland China and Hong Kong at that time. China produces raw materials by extraction, which are then taken to Hong Kong through cross-border trade for manufacturing and eventually contributed to the service industry. Another close-up shot on the monitor display of the luggage scanning machines, which shows no sign of the dead fetuses in the lunch pail, suggested the existing loopholes in actual practices, which enable black market and illegal trade.
Through depicting the conversation between Aunt May and a staff in the mainland hospital in Shenzhen, it's discovered that Aunt May was a former abortionist who used to work there, later came to Hong Kong and started serving dumplings for wealthy clients. It brings into mind the inflow of labor from mainland China to Hong Kong. The employment opportunities and better working environments in Hong Kong heavily drew people from the impoverished part of China to work in Hong Kong.